Has everybody else got the recording?
Yeah, looks like it, Leslie. Looks good.
Thank you.
Perfect. Excellent. So welcome, everyone. Let me introduce you to our team. Today we have with us Dr. Batcham, who's the director of the Brusha School of Foods and Nutritional Science, and Dr. Yasna Twinstra, who is the graduate chair also of the Brusha School of Food and Nutritional Sciences. And I'm going to invite them at this time to say a few words to you. So, Dr. Batcham.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Of course, we're always so excited to see you. We're always so excited that you're interested in our programs, and very excited to share with you, obviously, a new development that we have. And so we're very glad to have you here. For those who may know, we've done a little bit of a change in our programming. You know that we had a DDEP program that was an undergraduate training program on the practicum side, and that has now moved into the grad space. I wanted to just to let you know that this movement towards a graduate degree is something that all the schools across the country have been talking about for a few years. We know that the American system has gone to a master's program, and we know that all of our other health professions have actually pretty much gone towards a master's program. So it was time, I think, for dietetics to think about it, and we've now, basically all of us are kind of moving that way. And so we're so pleased that we're now able to offer you two practicum training programs, which is our MScFN, which is our 3-term, and our 5-term, I think we call them curriculum options, or streams, as I like to call them. I wanted to just give you a little background as well to let you know that we were very strategic when we were planning these two programs. And they're very two different experiences with some, I guess, some similarities between the two, if you will. You're going to get a graduate degree, whether you go into the 3-term or the 5-term. And you obviously are going to get the practicum if you're interested in dietetics, which I'm sure you are if you're here. And so those things are very much similar between the two programs. But when we created them, we really wanted two other distinct experiences. So if you're really passionate about research, and you want to work with a faculty member and you want to be a part of that, then the 5-term option really is for you. We've created that option to be more in person as well. And if you want a couple of extra semesters to kind of slow things down, I know you've been very, very busy, most of you, if not all of you, in an undergraduate degree, doing 4 years and then coming into a graduate program. So if you want to slow things down a little bit, then the 5-term definitely is for you. We also now have this beautiful course-based 3-term program. So if you're ready to dive in, you'll get your graduate training really through coursework and the practicum. So really it's all up to you and your preference. I'm going to leave the thesis and the PhD description to Dr. Twinstra. But again, so thrilled to have you here. Looking forward to hopefully seeing some of you next year. And I hope you have a great meeting.
All right, hi everybody. I'll introduce myself next. My name is Dr. Yasna Twinstra, and I am the graduate chair, which really means I am overseeing the graduate programming within our school. So the two programs that we are offering, the project-based masters, which is what we call sort of like our old master's program that's been around for a long time, is still existing. It is still strong. Faculty are still working with students. Really enjoy working with our students. And then you will hear about this new, we call it course-based masters, where it just really the biggest difference is it has less of an intense research experience. And I will talk in detail about both of these programs in just a few slides, so I'm not going to talk about them now. But I'm very excited that you are all here and that you're interested in our programming, and there will be question and answer session at the end. So if you have a question and we don't answer it during our slides, please save all your questions and we'll be very happy to answer all of them.
Thank you both. I also wanted to introduce some other members of our team. So we have Michelle Foster and Lisa Hardy, and they make sure that everything runs smoothly from the admissions process to enrollment, clearance requirements, insurance, and graduation. And then Leslie McCaskill, myself, and Joy Hort are here to plan and manage the practicum placements, coordinating with placement organizations, preceptors, and you to ensure learning experiences to address your career interests and that they also have the necessary opportunities available for you to practice your skills and developing your competence. We're here to guide and walk with you as you take your first steps into the role of being a professional. Leslie and Joy and Dr. Twinstra are going to walk us through a lot of the program components. So you'll have a chance to meet us all as we go through the presentation today. So here's what we have in store for you. We're going to go through each of our programs and describe what they look like in more detail for you, get a little bit more granular, and we're going to start with our master's programs, the course and the project-based programs. We're going to talk about how to apply to these programs, what the practicum component looks like, and we're going to talk a little bit with you about our graduates and how we're excited to have them join the profession at the end and what kind of careers they step into. At the end, we're going to spend a little bit of time digging into the master's and the PhD program. So if you're really interested in research, you'll get a good feel for what those pieces look like. And then we're going to stop the recording and dig into some of your questions that you have. So that's what we have coming up for you today. So again, just to reiterate, we're going to spend a lot of time talking about our Masters of Science in Foods and Nutrition, both the practicum options, and then spend some time talking about the Masters and PhD programs. At a glance, this is what the programs look like. So in terms of both the course-based and the project-based programs, you can see in terms of the difference in length of time of the programs, that they're offered full-time and that you'll be eligible for the CDRE, which is the Canadian Dietetic Registration Examination at the end of both of those programs. That is the primary difference between both the course-based and the project-based MScFN programs versus the master's and the PhD programs. Obviously, with the master's and PhD, there's a thesis to defend, as well as perhaps a different degree, a master's degree or a PhD. So I'm going to ask Dr. Twinstra to sort of dig into these programs and give you a lot more detail about what they look like.
All right, so I'm going to start with our MScFN. Oh, I've lost my screen. Okay, there it is. It came back. I'm going to start with the MScFN course-based program, or curriculum option is really what we need to call it, which is our newest addition to our MScFN. This program is 1 year in duration. So it is 12 months, if you're counting in terms of months, or 3 terms, so fall, winter, and summer terms, our academic terms. And it is a full-time program, meaning you are going to be full-time students going through the program. In terms of courses, there are 3 courses that need to be completed for the program, and they are spread out over the entire course of the program. So 1 course per semester is how the courses are divided. So 1 course in the fall, 1 in the winter, and 1 in the summer. And on the next slide, I'll give you a little bit more information. Also part of the program is the practicum. So this is the piece that's going to give you the opportunity to get the competencies to be able to write the CDRE after the completion of the program. And some other things that need to be fulfilled, which are sort of more administrative, but there are things that you need to pay attention to. So there is an academic integrity module. So this is something that's part of Western graduate programming. It is an online module that is completed within the first semester. It is not super onerous. It's not a course by any means. It's just a module that all of the graduate students at Western are asked to complete. You will also be asked to attend a field-based seminar. These seminars are offered around 8 to 10 times throughout an academic year. And you will have to attend 4 or 5 of these seminars. Now, these seminars are offered you can attend virtually, because this is anything offered in terms of components at Western are going to be offered through online channels. So you don't have to come to in person on campus to be able to fulfill this program. And then the last piece for the program is the evidence-based practice project. Now, this project is really integrated into the competencies and into the practicum. So it is a research project, but it is by no means a research project where you go out, get your ethics application, you collect your own data, you analyze your own data, you write a manuscript or anything like that. But it is more a project that is integrated within the practicum. You complete it in your practicum. And then at the end of the program, you have the opportunity to share what you learned throughout, or your share experiences and what you learned throughout that project with your peers. So these are the main components of the course-based programming. Now, in terms of the timeline, this is really the simplest way I thought we could share what's happening within each term. So if we're looking term one, for example, the course that you will be taking is Advances in Clinical Nutrition, and it'll be offered through online synchronous and or asynchronous ways. Within that term, you will also be starting your practicum. So anything in orange or a light orange color, that is your practicum components. Those are your practicum components. They've been split up into courses, but they are part of the overarching practicum that you will be going through. So you will start your practicum term one and move all the way through the program and finish off in term three. Whereas your courses, term one, you will take Advances in Clinical Nutrition. In term two, so the winter term, you will take Research and Evaluation in Dietetic Practice. And then in term three, you will take Leadership and Policy in Food Environments. All of those courses are online, asynchronous or synchronous, and those details will come out when course outlines are released closer to springtime. And then in the green at the bottom of this chart are the milestones that I have already identified. So the first one is the field-based seminar milestones. So you have to attend 4 to 5 of these seminars to complete that milestone, and you will be able to log in through a Zoom link and attend seminars in that way. And as I also said, the academic integrity module, that is something that all graduate students at Western have to complete, and it is it's online, asynchronous, you do it at your own pace, but it has to be finished before the end of the fall term. And then I have an asterisk here, the milestone in terms of the evidence-based practice project. So as I said, this is something that's done in practicum. However, at the end of term three, there will be an opportunity for you to share your experiences through an organized, what we call research day, where you will come together with your peers in the program, and you will be sharing your experiences within that research project, so that you get the experience of sort of sharing and disseminating information that you have learned, which is part of the research process. Okay, so to give you a bit of an overview about our other MScFN curriculum stream, this is our project-based master's. This master's is 20 months in duration, or 5 academic terms. It is also full-time. I should say that both programs start in September and then continue until the duration of the program is complete. The project-based masters, there are 4 courses that the students complete. So these courses are completed within the first 2 academic terms of the program. There's 2 courses in the fall term and 2 courses in the winter term. And then after those 2 terms finish, that's when the practicum component will start and then continue on throughout the rest of the program. In terms of the milestones, so the academic integrity module and the field-based seminars are both required, same as before, except the field-based seminars you would be required to attend 8 to 10 seminars. So all of the seminars that are offered, you would need to attend all of those seminars. And they are all can be completed within the first 2 terms while you're doing your courses and you're on campus. And then the major research project is a project that you will be assigned a supervisor, which is a faculty member within our school, and you will be working closely with that faculty member to fulfill the training requirements for research, to understand how to read research and to conduct research, go through research processes. And you will have direct contact with the supervisor throughout the entire duration of the program, although most of it will be concentrated within the first 2 terms while you're on campus and in courses, as well as there's going to be 8 to 10 dedicated research weeks within the next 3 terms, however that works out for that research project, to really have dedicated time to that project so you can push that research project forward. And a lot of our students have had successes in presenting at conferences, manuscript publications. So there's a lot of very tangible outputs that students have experienced with this project. So similar to the first timeline that I showed you, I tried to break down the project-based masters into a visual timeline for all those visual people out there like me. So as you can see, in term 1, you will be taking 2 courses, and there are 2 mandatory courses that you will be taking. So you will take advances in clinical nutrition, as well as nutrition research and epidemiology. In term 2, you can pick one of the 3 courses that we offer. 2 of the 3 courses that we offer. So the courses are leadership and food management, community nutrition and program planning, and food and nutritional policies and regulations. All of these courses are offered in person. The only one I have here with an asterisk is the Advances in Clinical Nutrition, because this course is being offered in both curriculum options. If you remember my previous couple slides ago, this is the first course that the course-based master students will be taking. So this is the same course. So we're still working on what is the best way to offer this course. And again, information in terms of how the course is going to be presented to the students is going to come later when all of the course outlines are finalized. So just so know that that's whether in person or a combination of online, synchronous, asynchronous learning, those are all possibilities. And then I'm going to move on to maybe the orange portion again. So the practicum components are fulfilled throughout terms 3, 4, and 5. And again, they're just split up into courses, but really it's just they're just part of one big practicum. And you will see at the bottom of the orange piece, like the last row, it says 8 to 10 weeks of research placement. So this is what I was talking about. There's going to be 8 to 10 weeks dedicated just to research. And you are considered to be basically in placement with your supervisor conducting research. It is a very focused research experience throughout that time. And then in the green are all of the milestones that are being completed. Now, the major faculty-led research project is part of that research placement. So that's a little bit of an overlap there. But that is an ongoing project. But as I said, it is primarily focused within the first 2 terms, plus those 8 to 10 research weeks that happen within terms 3, 4, or 5. The field-based seminar milestone that happens over terms 1 and 2, so while you're on campus in your courses. And then finally, the academic integrity module needs to be completed by the end of term 1. I just want to, so there's notes that I want to say. So in terms of major differences between the 2 programs, it is really focused within the research intensity, perhaps, or the rigor of the research training. There's just a longer immersement within research throughout the project-based masters, MScFN. And this opens up an opportunity for those who are potentially interested in academic opportunities later on. We have had students from project-based masters go in and do their PhDs. So it has been recognized as rigorous training for PhDs. although this is very program specific, so I can't guarantee for all PhDs, but there have been opportunities for students and examples of students that have gone on to do their PhD after completing the MScFN, which you will hear about later on in the presentation. And I think that is it for me for now.
Thank you, Dr. Twinstra. So graduates from both the project-based and course-based MScFN programs both receive a Western master's degree upon graduation. And successful completion of these programs enables graduates to register to write the Canadian Dietetic Registration Exam. Some of our graduates begin work immediately after the program ends, after obtaining a temporary license while waiting to write the CDRE. And we do have graduates working in all sectors of the profession with more of an emphasis on nutrition care or clinical settings in recent years, and that's really just a reflection of the current job market. But we'll be sharing more information about that later in the presentation. The admission criteria is the same for both the MScFN project-based and course-based programs. Applicants will have graduated from an accredited dietetic undergrad program in Canada or the US within the last 3 years, so 2023 or later. This time limit is important to ensure your knowledge is current and consistent with today's graduates. A minimum academic average of 75% in the final 2 years, or the most recent 10 full course equivalents of your degree if you're still in your 4th year. 10 full course equivalents is equal to 20 half courses or 21 semester courses. Applicants with averages between 70 to 74.9% may be considered. Applicants must have completed undergraduate courses in research methodology and statistics, or courses that are deemed to be equivalent. For those who graduated from an accredited undergraduate program more than 3 years ago, so prior to 2023, they would have to be required to complete the Knowledge Competency Assessment Tool, or KCAT, through the College of Dietitians of Ontario and achieve a Level 1 result. We do expect to admit approximately 50 students between our 2 programs based on historical numbers, and we'll discuss the application package a bit later in our presentation today. Tuition amounts for next year have not been released by Western yet, so we can only provide information on current program fees. It's important when you seek information at this link provided that you look in 2 different places. First, the fee schedule for tuition and ancillary fees, and second, the program-related tuition fees, which is where the placement fees amounts are listed. This year, the per semester tuition and ancillary fees for the MScFN program are $4,693. So you would multiply that amount by 3 or 5 semesters, depending upon the program you are interested in. This year's placement fees are $4,000 for all students, and that fee is in addition to your tuition. And of course, all fees are subject to change. Our program is OSAP eligible, and we encourage students to apply for this support, especially as there are additional costs throughout the year to consider, including pre-placement health and non-health requirements, such as the vulnerable sector police check and N95 mask fit testing, and of course, in addition to the cost of living and transportation to or from placement. Western does have bursaries available to students as well, and we encourage you to apply to both OSAP and bursaries, and I've provided the link to the student finances page. If you're not a current Western student, you might have limited access to some of the information on this site, but once you're enrolled in one of our programs, you'll be able to apply for financial assistance. So it's important to consider all costs that contribute to your expenses during the practicum year. We recognize this is an expensive program, and we've tried to help minimize costs by offering practicum locations in many regions of the province so that you might be able to save on accommodation costs by staying and learning in your home region.
Okay, for the next few minutes, we're going to talk a bit more about research. As you've already learned, all students in the project-based research stream will do an advanced research project with one of our research faculty. To give you an idea of what this could look like, I will be highlighting some recent projects completed by our project-based master's students and faculty. But please know that this only represents a small sample of what is possible for these projects. We encourage you to review our faculty profiles on our website. So this will give you a much more comprehensive view of the scope and variety of research that's done in our school. Next slide. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so we're going to start with the projects that have been done with Dr. Matthews. So this first study here, the students and Dr. Matthews investigated food and agriculture related courses offered in universities across Canada. And in the second one listed here, I know there were interviews of farmers asking various things about sustainable food production. Both of these studies ended up being published in peer-reviewed journals. And then lastly, this study here was a quantitative investigation of food, nutrition, and hydration issues in long-term care homes. And I guess the publication is pending on that, but I certainly look forward to those results. All right, some more examples. These ones were projects completed with Dr. Seabrook and Dr. Twinstra. And so the first one here is, does dietitian involvement during pregnancy improve birth outcomes? And it was a systematic review. And of course, it's been published already in a respectable peer-reviewed journal. And then the second one here is looking at the association between maternal eating disorders and adverse birth outcomes. And importantly, this is the first meta-analysis to explore this association. So some very important work being done. Okay. So here we're looking at some projects that were completed with, firstly, Dr. Latifa Amadi. So in the first example here, they were looking at protected mealtime in a Canadian hospital and looking how that impacted energy and nutrient intake. And then in the second one, the student and Dr. Amadi was looking at reducing food waste by the use of technology, specifically mobile phones. I just want to also point out that although these first two studies weren't heavily food sciencey, just know that Dr. Amadi, a lot of her research does involve food science. So yeah, please take a look at her profile. And if you're interested in food science, she does a lot of study in that area. And then the last one here was a project done with Dr. Hekmat, and it's looking at the effects of fortification of yogurt with various functional flours on growth and survival of probiotic bacteria and sensory properties of the yogurt. Again, all of these studies have been published in peer-reviewed journals. And I just, sorry, you can leave it there. That's okay. I just want to also mention that Dr. Hekmat, she's just really well known for her work on pre and probiotics. So again, if that tweaks your interest, then that's something to consider. Okay, pictured here is Dr. Peggy O'Neill on the right and one of our master's students, Mariah, on the left. And this was just taken about 10 days ago at the, let's see if I can get this right, the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization World Food Forum in Rome. That's a mouthful. So very exciting opportunity for both of them, and especially for the student to have the opportunity to share her work and her project at an international conference. And this is the second year in a row where Dr. O'Neill's student has been able to do that. Dr. O'Neill also has supported course-based program students. This example, the student was placed at Health Canada and was looking at the evaluation of an online food safety course. The last thing that I'd like to share before handing it back to Helen is a MScFN project-based success story. Now, of course, we have lots of success stories, but we only have a little bit of time, so we're only going to share one with you. So this is Holly Shafsma. I think I said that right. She is a 2021 MScFN graduate, and she provided this lovely quote during the program. The MScFN program has been a wonderful experience so far. The professors, coordinators, and preceptors are incredibly supportive. They inspire me to become the best leader I can be in the dietetic profession. And Holly has actually now, she moved on and did her PhD in health promotion at Western, and I think she just graduated and finished that up this past spring. And now she's at Guelph doing her postdoc. So again, going back to Dr. Twinestra's point that this project-based master's is a really good jumping off point to future PhD studies. Helen, I think this is you, right? Oh.
I was just looking for my things always disappear on me, so I'm sorry for that. I just wanted to let you know a little bit about international applicants. So just so you're aware, you're welcome to apply to our programs. And if you've completed an undergraduate degree in Canada, a dietetics degree in Canada, or one that's been accredited by the Ascend accreditation in the United States, you are eligible to apply to our program. If you have did not complete an accredited dietetics degree in Canada or the States, but have a similar degree from another country, you do have a few options. So you could complete the necessary courses at an accredited undergraduate program so that your education is considered equivalent. It's possible that some of your credits may be transferred to your dietetics degree, and this would be assessed by the admissions officers at the university that you're applying to. Similarly, if you practice as a dietitian in another country, you can visit the College of Dietitians of Ontario website to initiate a prior learning and assessment recognition process, which will include writing of the knowledge, competence, and assessment tool as your first step. These are the guidelines in Ontario, and if you achieve a level 1 result on the KCAT, you'll be eligible for admissions for the program. In other provinces, they may have different processes, so we recommend that you contact your local regulatory body for dietetics in the province or territory for guidance.
I think you're muted, Helen.
Now? Okay, excellent. For international applicants, you are required to have a postgraduate work permit and a study visa if you're in the course-based program, as well as a study visa and a work permit for the practicum portion of the program if you are an international applicant. We really strongly encourage you to visit Western's International Exchange and Student Center for support and guidance as you work through the application and getting these study visas. So we're going to dig into the application process now. I'll give you a brief overview here, and then we're going to talk about each of the components moving forward. So there are several components that are required for your application package. There's your transcript, confirmation of completion of academic program, resume, Casper, as well as there's a supplementary application form. And once we receive all of the components of your application, we'll move into a selection process. So your application will be reviewed by a committee, and we're hoping to hold interviews the week of February 17th, with program acceptance being announced early in March 2026, and we'll continue with admissions until we fill the program. At this point, it's really important for you to be checking back to our website. We're hoping to open the admissions process early to mid-November, and then it will close on January 12th. So digging into some of these components, first is your transcript. So if you are currently in an undergraduate dietetics program, we need you to submit your unofficial transcript showing your fall 2025 grades. Or if you've already completed a program, we'll need your official transcript showing accredited dietetic program completion. We are looking for you to submit all your past post-secondary transcripts that contain credits that were applied to your accredited dietetics degree. So if you started your degree in one program, but then transferred into dietetics later on, and some of those credits traveled with you and applied to that degree, we're looking for that transcript as well. And as Leslie mentioned earlier, we're looking for a minimum of 75% average from your last full-time credits, and we're looking for your courses in research methods and statistics or equivalent type courses. The letter of program completion. This letter confirms that you've met all the dietetic program requirements by April 30th, 2026 or earlier. And it's a letter you can get from your program director and submit that as part of your application. You to tell us a little bit more about yourself, to describe some of your experiences by submitting a resume. In terms of format, we're looking for a 2-page resume in Times New Roman, size 12 font with 1-inch margins, and in reverse chronological order. And what that means is that you list your most current experience first, and down historically from there. In terms of the components that we're looking for on your resume, we're looking for you to prioritize your dietetics related experiences. So we encourage you also, though, to think about transferable skills. So you may have done things in regards to leadership or management, for example, that aren't directly nutrition related, but are really important in terms of skills that you bring to a dietetics career. With each of these components, we're asking you to describe the roles and the skills that you learned from these experiences, the things that you did, so that we can see how they fit really nicely into a dietetics career. And again, we're asking you to outline all your post-secondary education. There is some supplemental information that we're looking for you as well. There's different components here, and the one I want to talk about first is the attestations. So what we're asking you to do is to confirm that you have access to reliable transportation. So when we talk about the practicum program, you'll see why this is really important. It's important that you have the ability to get to placement sites every single day, and so access to reliable transportation is a big part of that. This program also requires individuals to participate in practicums in healthcare organizations. As a condition of learning in these organizations, you'll be required to show evidence of meeting their health and safety requirements. This includes vaccinations as well as vulnerable sector screening. And finally, this is a professional program. You're taking the first steps into a career in dietetics. And so it's really important for you to understand what the ethics of being a professional looks like. So we encourage you to review the College of Dietitians of Ontario Code of Ethics, and then we're going to ask for you to attest to those statements.
Okay, As another part of the supplementary information, you will be asked to rank your top 3 preferred placement regions out of this list here. If it happens that your desired region or specific placement organization in Ontario is not listed here, please select Other and provide details in the space provided. Students admitted to either program will complete the majority of their practicum in a region assigned at the time of admission. Unfortunately, we can't guarantee that you will all be assigned to one of your top 3 picks. There's only so much capacity, so it gets really tough to be able to do that. Normally, the highest ranked students have a better chance of getting their top choices. Your assigned region will be in your offer letter, so you will have this information when deciding whether you want to accept your offer or not. We strongly recommend that you review details about all the placement regions, and you can find that information on our website, which I think we have the link there. Yes, we do. Okay, some other considerations when selecting your 3 regions. You might want to ask yourself, do I have specific learning interests? Do these organizations have opportunities that align well with my career goals? So for example, some regions such as Hamilton, London, Kingston, they offer a lot of clinical inpatient placements where the acuity is quite high, meaning that you'll be dealing with patients that are pretty sick. So is that something you want to do? Or maybe you're more interested in doing placements in a small rural or community hospital, perhaps long-term care. So just some things to think about. You might want to consider your personal resources as well, such as access to accommodations, the cost of travel, the cost of parking. We know that hospital parking is notoriously expensive. So yeah, keep in mind all these different factors when making this decision. You might also want to think about, what you want your practicum year to look like from a personal point of view. In other words, things like, do you want to be close to family, or do you want to take the opportunity to explore a new region of Ontario and kind of have an adventure? Please note that no matter where you get assigned, that all students in the practicum program will get all the opportunities they need to be able to achieve their competencies. Okay. So if you're applying to the project-based program, you will have some questions to answer regarding research. So you will need to briefly describe your research interests, and then you're going to rank the top 5 faculty that align best with your research interests. So again, the link is here to our faculty page where you can find out more details about all our wonderful faculty. Okay, Casper. You will be writing the Casper 2. What is that? It is an online open response situational judgment test. So it's, I would venture to say, probably pretty different from any test that you've done before. You're going to be asked about tough situations, and they're going to ask you, what would you do in this situation and why? And they're really trying to get at some kind of soft skills. You can, and we strongly recommend that you go to the Acuity Insights website. I think we have the link there to find out more information. So, and this is really important, you need to register for the test at least 3 days ahead of time. Okay, and we have the dates listed there. So you have the choice of writing the test on any of these days. You only have to write it once, okay? There is a fee. There's a one-time setup fee of $50, plus there's an additional distribution fee of $18. If you are applying to both of our programs, you only have to pay the distribution fee once, okay? We strongly encourage you to prep for this test. So what does that look like? Well, you're not really going to be studying, but I would go to the Acuity Insights website, and at the top menu, there is a test prep button, and I would go there, and they have really good information. It talks about even doing things like making sure that you have the proper software and computer and things that you have to do ahead of time. There's also a practice test that you can do that I would highly recommend working through. And then there's a good FAQ section as well. Oh, sorry. We're here. Okay. So as mentioned before, there will be virtual interviews for candidates for both programs, and more details to come through an email in early February. And the interviews will take place the week of February the 17th.
Okay, now I'll tell you a little bit about the practicum experience in our programs. And this cover page shows one of my current students in a variety of settings at a community health center, in her food service, provision placement, and at a community health event. Thank you. Next slide. So the practicum experience in our programs occurs in a wide variety of diverse placement settings, from hospitals, long-term care homes, community health centers, and public health to food industry and private practice settings. Our students experience a wide range of dietetic practicum placements. The student in this photo elected to complete a practicum placement at one of Diabetes Canada's overnight summer camps for children with diabetes. A unique feature about this placement is that students receive a financial stipend and free room and meals while at the camp. Comprehensive dietetic training, and that means well above the minimum 1,250 placement hours. So over a span of approximately 40 weeks, students in the practicum programs will complete placements in nutrition care, food provision, population health promotion, and then either academic research weeks for those in the 5-semester project-based program where they work on their major project during that time, or a practice-based project placement in the 3-semester course-based program. Now, students usually complete 6 to 8 unique placements, ensuring a well-rounded experience. It's a tailored experience, meaning each student will have a unique placement schedule that considers the student's personal interests and career goals. So no two schedules are the same. You'll get personalized support. You'll work primarily with one dietetic education coordinator, and this ensures that we get to know you as a person and as a future RD colleague. And this relationship enables us to match you to placement experiences and preceptors to support you through your hard days and celebrate with you in your triumphs. You are matched with a dietetic education coordinator based on your geographical location. And over the years, your DEC has developed strong ties to the organizations and preceptors in that region. These relationships are invaluable to designing a schedule that is personal to each student. Typically, the ratio of student to coordinator is kept relatively low, so you will get the support you need throughout your practicum. You should expect your placements to be full-time. That's 7 to 8 hours a day, Monday through Fridays. Additional work in the evenings and sometimes weekends will also be required. You should expect to travel and possibly even relocate during the practicum. Students in both practicum programs absolutely must have access to reliable transportation to get to placements, including getting to placements where public transit may not be available. Each practicum is designed so students have the opportunity to develop their skills for competency. So you and your DEC will work with your learning needs and interests along with the resources and capacity in your geographic area to map out your individual placement calendar. So the overall framework for the practicum piece of the program looks like this. Minimum of 16 weeks of nutrition care. So those are the placements in hospitals, long-term care homes, family health teams, diabetes education centers, etc. 6 weeks minimum in food provision. So those are the food service departments of hospitals, long-term care homes, sometimes food industry or upper higher education settings as well. 6 weeks minimum in population health promotion placements. That could be in a public health unit, a community health center, with a private practice dietitian, with the federal government, or in food industry. So the key difference between the two schedules here is the number of weeks dedicated to research or the practice-based project. You'll notice that all other aspects of the practicum are the same. Flex weeks can be assigned across nutrition care, food provision, population health promotion, and to the practice-based project. Keep in mind, however, that students in some cohorts, like those at London Health Sciences Centre and Hamilton Health Sciences, have less flexibility than others in determining these weeks. Students completing their practicum based at these sites will have a greater emphasis on nutrition care, and the majority, if not all, of their flex weeks will be assigned to nutrition care placements at these hospitals. So I think that's really important to remember that if you are choosing a very clinically focused practicum, you're going to lose flexibility, but you will get the clinical experience that you desire. If you are interested in pop health, for example, though, you could potentially have 2 placements or a much longer placement in population health promotion, applying those flex weeks to that area. There is a week off in the fall semester of practicum for the project-based cohort, and a week off in the spring for the course-based group. All students get 2 weeks off over the December holidays, and the timing of the December vacation weeks, that's not flexible, so vacation weeks at other times cannot be arranged. And here are 2 example schedules from actual students in our program. On the left is an MScFN project-based student, and this student was unsure about her career goals. She had interests in both clinical nutrition and the food industry. So we made sure to give her a wide variety of clinical experience, which she got at the Etobicoke Family Health Team and at Trillium Health Partners in Mississauga. But she also elected to complete a placement at Loblaw's head office in Brampton, with other placements at Community Health Center in Toronto and St. Joseph's for her food provision. You'll see also that she has 8 weeks of dedicated research with her major project at Western. So that is the framework that she chose, and it worked really well for her. And I could tell you now that she has recently accepted a job at Loblaw's head office. So it was really great that we added that elective to her practicum experience. The student on the right was formerly in our DDEP, but this would be a sample schedule that would be possible in the MScFN course-based program, where the project, the practice-based project, was completed at the hospital. The student completed her pop health placement with the Southwestern Ontario Aboriginal Health Access Centre. Her food provision was at St. Joseph's Healthcare, and then she had 19 weeks at London Health Sciences Centre doing pediatric eating disorders, general medicine, oncology, and general surgery. So you can see that this had a quite an emphasis on clinical nutrition, nutrition care, and that's exactly what this student was looking for in her experience. So they're very similar, just emphasizing the major difference is the the research project versus the practicum-based project.
Hey, so we just wanted to go over all the different ways that if you do decide to and you get chosen for one of our programs, that we have lots of processes in place to support you. Starting with orientation, you'll get a comprehensive introduction to practicum. It'll help you understand expectations. You'll get familiar with our processes and our forms, and meet all the personnel that'll help you through the program. We also do educational workshops on a regular basis, typically once a month, and they're often on topics that we feel are very relevant and important to success in practicum and in your future career. So for example, we often do, we get dietitians working in the field in diabetes come and talk to our students, renal dietitians come and talk to the students. We also do some nutrition support sessions, just to give you some examples. You will also have cohort meetings. So what this means is that every DEC will meet with their own students once a month. And these meetings, they're quite important because they allow the students to connect, to share, especially when they're experiencing challenges, and it really helps them collaborate and just really form a supportive environment. Debrief meetings with your DEC. So these are formal meetings with your DEC that occur once per term. And the purpose of this meeting really is just to check in on progress and to really make sure that we're doing everything we can to support you, address any concerns or questions that you may have. One-on-one sessions, those can happen with your DEC at any point in between the debrief meetings. We really just try to make ourselves available to our students if they're experiencing a problem in placement, or whatever the concern may be. We're always available to our students. Students will also have access to Western Library and PEN, otherwise known as Practice-Based Evidence in Nutrition database. So this really helps to ensure that you have all the latest information at your fingertips. Western Career Counseling is also available to you. You may not be ready for that until maybe towards the end of the program, but they can help you with interviewing skills, they can help you with your CV, and things like that. And this is important. As a Western student, you will have access to health benefits and access to student services. This applies to all of our practicum students, not just the ones in London. So if you're doing placements outside of London, you're still eligible for these services. And then also Western financial aid and bursaries are available. And I think maybe that website was already shared in a previous slide. Okay, so you may be interested in this. So if you choose us, are you going to get a job after? That's like a pretty important question. So Leslie did a little bit of statistics, and she looked at 3 years of our practicum grads, and we looked at where their first jobs were. So you can see from this graph that 48% landed in the hospital setting, 21% in outpatients. So this was mostly like diabetes centers and family health teams, 16% in long-term care, 9% in private practice, and 6% in home care. So you can see that many sectors are represented there. A lot of them are nutrition care, you might notice. I will mention that a couple of these students did get jobs in food service or food industry. And I think the last comment is really just, you might notice that there aren't a lot of pop health jobs there. Well, there's none. So there does seem to be less of an opportunity in that sector. But maybe that'll change in the coming years. Okay. Some more statistics. How quickly do our grads get jobs? So looking at employment within the first 6 months after graduation, every year we're pretty consistent. We meet or exceed 75%. So that means that at least 75%, if not more, of our students will get jobs within that first 6 months after graduation. And then also for the last couple of years, greater than 25% of our practicum students have been offered jobs by their placement sites, so where they did placement. So that's also pretty exciting. All right, the Canadian Dietetic Registration Exam. So this is sort of your last step to becoming a dietitian. We just wanted to maybe toot our own horns a little bit here, that we had a really good pass rate this past May. So 96.7% of our students passed the exam, and the national pass rate was 92%. So I think that pretty much shows like how our program really prepares our students well.
Okay, so all of that information, the last hour or so wraps up the details around our practicum programs. I am just going to spend a few minutes going over some thesis-based programs that are also available. They are not within our department, but they are within Western. So they are in what's called Health and Rehabilitation Sciences. And our faculty, and a field that was really created for us, I would say, with the transition to Western, is called Food, Nutrition, and Human Ecology. I provided a website there. You can copy and paste it, and you can go check out the program and see if you're interested in thesis-based programming. I will say it doesn't offer a practicum, so this is a pure research-based, thesis-based program where you go throughout the entire program, fulfill your research project, and you defend a thesis at the end of it. Within the field, we offer both master's and PhD level programs. If you're interested, oh, sorry, Helen, just one slide back. Some of the areas that exist in terms of research within the program is really all of the research that faculty within our school do. And so I'm not going to go through all of them, but I listed them here on the slide, and they're also on the website. So if something sparks your interest, feel free to contact a faculty member. You can look at their research interests, and if you like what they're doing, reach out to them, say, hey, I like what you're doing. I'm interested in a thesis program, if that's what you're interested in, and then start the conversation to see if there is opportunities there for you to join the team. Just a little run through as to what the thesis-based program looks like, and I'm only going to talk about the master's thesis-based program, PhD program. The details of that are on the website, so you can check that out on your own. The program is typically 2 years in duration. The start date is also September for next year intake is 2026. It is thesis based, so it doesn't have a practicum component. You do defend a thesis at the end of the program. And this is really a great option for students who are interested in academic research. So for example, if you're interested in becoming or continuing on with academia, becoming a professor, but you can also work in other sectors like the industry, government, health research. Really, the opportunities, these are just very few opportunities listed here. The opportunities are large and wide. So I really encourage you to reach out to faculty you're interested in working with to find out more about what all that is about. And this is just a quick glance at the admission requirements for the thesis programming. So again, I provided you the website directly on this slide. You can copy and paste it into the browser. to see the details of the admissions. But for example, for a master's program, they're looking for a minimum average of 75% over the last final 2 years. And again, averages between 70 and 75% are evaluated for admission on a case-by-case basis. They do require 2 academic reference letters. They do require a CV or a resume, as well as a statement of research interests. And it's very much encouraged for students to reach out to potential supervisors who may be best suited to your research interests and find a suitable research match before you apply, because that is really the key in gaining entry into the program. So again, reach out to faculty members whose research you are drawn to, and start the conversation if this is something that you're interested in. For any information regarding the thesis-based programming, please contact hrsinfo@uwo.ca. This is also directly on the website to find out any details about any of the programs that they offer.
I always have trouble finding my microphone again. So I know we've dropped a lot of information on you here today. We're going to post this presentation on our website, so you can definitely go back and review some of the slides again. But we'd also encourage you to ask questions to us today. So we'll take some time at the end of this to go through any of the questions that you have. Now is probably a good time to throw them in the chat if you'd like, or at the end, we'll also invite you to raise your hand and ask your question that way if you prefer. But you're welcome to come and visit with us. So you can come see us in person if you want. We'll be at Western University, and these times and dates are available on our website. Or if you're not at Western and you'd like to visit us virtually, we have those options as well too. So you can register to come join us at a drop-in. You can ask as many questions as you like, and we'd love to spend some time getting to know you and making sure that you have all the information that you need to apply to the program. There is lots and lots of information on our website as well. So everything that we talked about today is available for you there, so you can take your time and go through it as in your own time, and just really think about the information and consider what we have to offer for you there. And I just want to leave with you at the end is that we also have an email at FNSgrad. That's a great place for you to drop some of your questions. And if we can't answer the question at that time, we'll make sure we'll find somebody who does know how to answer that question. So again, not a worry at all. You're not bothering us. Just send us a quick email. We're happy to make sure that you have all your questions addressed.